A girl accidentally rolled down a hill, and when she came to her senses, she was horrified to discover that the area was littered with corpses lying in all directions. Even more terrifying was the fact that these were not ordinary corpses, but rather the bodies of people who had died from a viral infection, turning them into the living dead. Just as the girl was reeling from the shock, the infected individuals who had been frozen stiff in the snow suddenly awakened and frantically crawled out of the snowdrifts. Lisa, seeing this, immediately tried to flee, but the countless infected behind her had no intention of letting her go and began to chase after her in a frenzy. In order to survive, she had to use all her strength to run as fast as she could, knowing that if the infected caught her, they would devour her completely. Fortunately, a protective wall appeared ahead, and Lisa thought that if she could just climb over it, she would be safe. However, just as she was struggling to climb up, an infected person grabbed her ankle. In a moment of desperation, Lisa had no choice but to kick them away forcefully, finally managing to climb over the wall to safety. She had hoped to find people inside to ask for help, but after searching around, she discovered that the place was completely deserted. Left with no other options, she could only run forward in fear. However, just as she passed through a wire fence, a group of infected suddenly charged towards her. Thankfully, the wire fence provided protection, preventing the infected from biting Lisa for the time being. But the fence quickly began to give way, forcing Lisa to crawl on the ground to make her difficult escape. Even more terrifying was the fact that a large hole had been bitten through the wire fence. Fortunately, Lisa managed to crawl out just in time, but the infected behind her also caught up. Just as Lisa thought her life was about to end, a gunshot suddenly rang out, and a man quickly brought Lisa into a house, swiftly locking the heavy steel door behind them. It turned out that the man was also a survivor in this apocalyptic world. Seeing that the steel door was about to be broken down by the infected, the three people inside decided to leave the place immediately. At this point, Lisa mentioned that her friends were on the mountaintop, where there were many weapons and traps to deal with the infected. Realizing that they had no better options, they decided to follow Lisa's suggestion and set out for the mountaintop. The next second, the infected burst through the steel door. Although the three of them rode horses at an incredibly fast pace, the infected chased after them like madmen. Strangely, however, the infected gave up their pursuit after a short while and ran off in another direction.